Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon. Okay, so shall we start now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, teacher.
So yesterday we have finished up to number 3, right? On page number 65, right?
Oh, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
We'll move to number 4, which is listening. So I'll play a listening recording and you have to answer this question first. So listen to the conversation and which aspect of the Industrial Revolution is focused on this problem? So we'll answer this question first, okay? So you have 3 options. The different kind of machine used in the mill, or the conditions for workers in the mill, or people traveling long distance to find work. So you have to choose from 1 to 3. So this is multiple choice. So listen this and we'll answer number 4 first. Okay. So are you guys ready?
Yes, teacher, ready.
Yes, teacher.
Good afternoon,
Welcome
teacher.
to the History Programme. Today we're talking to Professor Johnson about the children who worked in the mills at the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 19th centuries. What was life like for these children?
It was hard. Children as young as 6 years old worked in the mills. They started at 6 a.m. and finished at about 7 in the evening, so they worked between 12 and 14 hours a day.
12 to 14 hours a day? That can't have been much fun for them. And how many children worked in the mills?
A lot. In some of Richard Arkwright's mills, for example, 2/3 of the people who worked there were children.
What about health and safety?
I'm afraid that wasn't important to the mill owners. Accidents were very common. Children lost hands and arms because they had to clean the machines while the machines were running, and the air was full of dust, which meant that chest and lung diseases were common.
How much did factory workers earn?
Very little, and factory owners preferred to employ women and children because they were cheaper than men.
It must have been a very hard life.
Yes, it was, and they were constantly watched while they worked. Money was taken from their wages if they talked or left the room without permission, or if they fell asleep while they were working.
Well, thank you for that, Professor Johnson, and we look forward to hearing more in next week's programme, when you're going to tell us about how conditions got better from the 19th.
So did you get the answers?
Hello, teacher. သမီးအခုလိုဘာလုပ်နေလဲ
teacher.
သမီးလည်းနောက်ကျပါလို့
这是我
ဟုတ်
这我 P 下来了，这里面
မဟုတ် teacher အခုဒါဘယ်အားလုပ်နေရလဲ
Page number 65 and we are doing number 4 now.
အော်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ teacher သမီးအလယ်လောက်မှဝင်လာလို့
Okay, so I'll play it again. Okay. So you
Okay,
have to
teacher.
answer the question. So and there are 3 options. So you just have to pick up 1 answer for this. That's all. 怎么样啊？
ဟုတ် teacher ရမယ် teacher thank you teacher
Okay, so I'll play it again.
Track 13.
Welcome to the History Programme. Today we're talking to Professor Johnson about the children who worked in the mills at the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 19th centuries. What was life like for these children?
It was hard. Children as young as 6 years old worked in the mills. They started at 6 a.m. and finished at about 7 in the evening, so they worked between 12 and 14 hours a day.
12 to 14 hours a day? That can't have been much fun for them. And how many children worked in the mills?
A lot. In some of Richard Arkwright's mills, for example, 2/3 of the people who worked there were children.
What about health and safety?
I'm afraid that wasn't important to the mill owners. Accidents were very common. Children lost hands and arms because they had to clean the machines while the machines were running, and the air was full of dust, which meant that chest and lung diseases were common.
How much did factory workers earn?
Very little, And factory owners preferred to employ women and children because they were cheaper than men.
It must have been a very hard life.
Yes, it was. And they were constantly watched while they worked. Money was taken from their wages if they talked or left the room without permission, or if they fell asleep while they were working.
Well, thank you for that, Professor Johnson. And we look forward to hearing more in next week's programme, when you're going to tell us about how conditions got better from the 19th.
Okay, so what is the answer for number 4? Is that 1, 2, or 3?
True, teacher.
Yes, it is talking about the conditions of the worker, right? Especially they mostly focus on child labor, right? Yes, so the answer is number 2, conditions for workers in the mill. Focus on this program. So we'll move to number 5. Listen again and complete a summary of what Professor Johnson said. For example, I turned as young as 6 years old, walk in the mill. So you have to complete the summary after listening again. So read the information there first, and after that, I'll play it again to complete it. Okay, so I'll play it.
Track 13.
Welcome to the History programme. Today we're talking to Professor Johnson about the children who worked in the mills at the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 19th centuries. What was life like for these children?
It was hard. Children as young as 6 years old worked in the mills. They started at 6 a.m. and finished at about 7 in the evening, so they worked between 12 and 14 hours a day.
12 to 14 hours a day? That can't have been much fun for them. And how many children worked in the mills?
A lot. In some of Richard Arkwright's mills, for example, 2/3 of the people who worked there were children.
What about health and safety?
I'm afraid that wasn't important to the mill owners. Accidents were very common. Children lost hands and arms because they had to clean the machines while the machines were running, and the air was full of dust, which meant that chest and lung diseases were common.
How much did factory workers earn?
Very little, and factory owners preferred to employ women and children because they were cheaper than men.
It must have been a very hard life.
Yes, it was, and they were constantly watched while they worked. Money was taken from their wages if they talked or left the room without permission, or if they fell asleep while they were working.
Well, thank you for that, Professor Johnson. And we look forward to hearing more in next week's programme, when you're going to tell us about how conditions got better from the 19th.
So did you get all the answers for the summary?
Yes, teacher. Yes.
Do I have to play it again to check your answers?
Yes, teacher.
Track 13.
Welcome to the History programme. Today we're talking to Professor Johnson about the children who worked in the mills at the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 19th centuries. What was life like for these children?
It was hard. Children as young as 6 years old worked in the mills. They started at 6 a.m. and finished at about 7 in the evening, so they worked between 12 and 14 hours a day.
12 to 14 hours a day? That can't have been much fun for them. And how many children worked in the mills?
A lot. In some of Richard Arkwright's mills, for example, 2/3 of the people who worked there were children.
What about health and safety?
I'm afraid that wasn't important to the mill owners. Accidents were very common. Children lost hands and arms because they had to clean the machines while the machines were running, and the air was full of dust, which meant that chest and lung diseases were common.
How much did factory workers earn?
Very little, and factory owners preferred to employ women and children because they were cheaper than men.
It must have been a very hard life.
Yes, it was, and they were constantly watched while they worked. Money was taken from their wages if they talked or left the room without permission, or if they fell asleep while they were working.
Well, thank you for that, Professor Johnson, and we look forward to hearing more in next week's programme, when you're going to tell us about how conditions got better from the 19th.
Okay, so shall we check the answers now?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
So the second is they walk from blank. So how did you complete the sentence?
6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
They walk from,
Teacher, from 说的 please 共没啊？
no. They're
Say
talking
me,
about the
Amanda.
duration of time they have to walk, right? So the answer has to be they walk from 12 to 14 hours a day, right?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
So accidents were very common, for example. So how did you complete the sentence here?
The children lost their arms and hands
Children
because
lost their hands and arms because
they have to clean the machine while the machine is working.
yes, they have to clean the machine while the motor or while the machine were running, right? So that is why they lost their hands and they lost their arms, right? So
Yes.
their accidents were very common at that time. So how about this one? The factory workers suffer from chest and lung diseases because
The air is full of dust.
yes, the air was full of dust, correct. And how about this one? Factory owners prefer to employ
Women and child.
Women and children.
yes, women and children. Why is that?
It's cheaper because it's cheaper than men.
Yes, they were cheaper than men, right? That is why they prefer women and children workers. And how about the last one? Many were taken from their wages if they
If they leave, if they talk or leave the room without permission, or if they fell asleep.
there are three reasons, right? Their wages have been cut off from them. So what is the first reason? If they
If they talk,
talk, yes, if they talk, and how about the second
left the
reason?
room without permission and
Yes, if they left
And
the
if
walk
they fell
without
asleep.
permission. And what about the last
fell
one?
asleep when they are walking.
Yes, they fell asleep while they were walking. So there are three reasons which their wages has been cut off, right?
yes.
Okay, so did you get all the answers for number 5?
Yes, sure.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, great. So for number 6, walk in groups and talk about what it must have been like to be a children working in the factory in Britain at the end of 18th century. Remember that you can use the structure like might have or must have, and you have to use past participle, mean you have to use verb 3 after that, as we are talking about the past actions, right? And can help. So you can use these phrases when talking about the child working in a factory. So what we have discussed together, for example, you can use it must have been very difficult for them, right? Working there. Or we can also say like it might, they might have struggled too much working there, right? Or they can't have, right? Maybe like their relaxing time or something like that. So we can say like that, right? So life is really hard at that time for them, right? As they have to work very long hours with a little wages, right? Okay. So actually, I have to move to writing, and this is supposed to be a group walk, but I'm not the host yet, right? Okay, after that, cannot target now, but we have to write it. It is a group walk.
The writing is a group what?
What? Yes. So I'm not assign လုပ်ပေးရမှာဒီမှာလောလောဆယ် host မဖြစ်သေးလို့ခဏနေကြာမှာအဲ့ဒီခဏဝင်အောင်ပြောနေတယ်လောလောဆယ် host မဖြစ်သေးလို့ခဏကြော်ထားခဲ့မယ်နော်ခဏကြော်ထားခဲ့မယ်ကြာပြန်လုပ်အောင်နော် Write an account of the day in life of a factory worker for of your age in the 18th century. Use the information from exercise 5 to help you. So you can use the information from exercise 5. So you have to create or you have to imagine a story that you are the worker there. For example, we have to get up at 5:30 a.m. every day, and you have to write their daily routine, imagining that you are one of them. So that is a good one. So I will let him for a while. Not hard enough. Okay, so we'll move to the next page. Page number 66. Can it or cool it? How many ways of preserving food can you think of? Okay. So how many ways can you think of preserving food? How many ways can you think of?
What about teacher?
What about?
What about you are talking?
What about my dad?
You are talking about what teacher?
Preserving food. I mean, for example, like we can freeze in the refrigerator to preserve food for a long time, right? So freeze လုပ်ထားလို့ရရေးကိစ္စမှာတခြားနည်းတွေဘာလို့နည်းရရှိတယ်လို့ပြောတာ food ကို preserve လုပ်ရတယ် Okay, can. You can use the can or we can cool. So is there any other method that you can think of preserving the food? That it is not quite healthy, right?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. အဲ့တော့လေခိုးကျင်တော့လေဆိုတော့ဘယ်လိုသုံးလဲဆိုတော့ဟိုပါလေအရန်ပူတဲ့နေရာမှာဆိုတော့အေးထားခြင်းလဲဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူတို့စင့်အိုးတွေထဲမှာအဲ့လိုကောက်ရိုးလေးတွေခံပြီးတော့မှထားတာမျိုးရှိရဲဆိုတော့အရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်ရေခဲစာမရှိသေးဘူးကွာအဲ့လိုမျိုးထားတာရှိရဲတချို့ကျတော့မြေကြီးထဲမှာမြစ်တာမျိုးရှိရဲတိန်နဲ့အစားအသောက်ကိုတိန်နေပြီပေါ့နော်။များသောအားဖြင့်တော့အသီးရွက်တို့အသားငါတို့ပေါ့နော်။အေးတဲ့နိုင်ငံတွေမှာအဲ့ဒါလုပ်ဖြစ်တယ်။ဆိုတော့အရန်ပူတဲ့နိုင်ငံတွေမှာကျတော့တိတ်အလုပ်မဖြစ်ဘူးနော်။အဲ့လိုမျိုးအရင်တော့ကတော့ကျွန်တော် refrigerator မရှိတော့ငါတော့သူ့နည်းသူ့ဟန်နဲ့ traditional way ကတိန်တာပေါ့နော်။အမြင့်ကြီးထဲမှာမြစ်တာရှိရတယ်။တချို့ကျအဲ့လိုအိုးကြီးထဲမှာအဲ့လိုအေးတဲ့အရာတစ်ခုခုနဲ့အေးတဲ့အရာတစ်ခုခုခဏတည်းကောက်ရိုးလိုဟာမျိုးမြက်လိုဟာမျိုးအဲ့လိုရှည်စွပ်ပြီးတော့မှအဲ့လိုအေးအဲ့လိုထားတာရှိတယ်။ But it doesn't work in country like us. ကျွန်တော်မြန်မာနိုင်ငံမှာတိတ်ပြီးတော့အသိအလုပ်မဖြစ်ဘူးနော်။ဒါပေမဲ့အေးတဲ့နေရာတွေမှာတိတ်နေတာပူတဲ့နေရာမှာကြာတာဘက်တီးရီးယားပေါက်ဖွားမြန်တဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မလို့အဲ့ဒီနေရာတိတ်အလုပ်မဖြစ်ဘူးနော်။ Okay. Okay, so we'll read it. Which two ways of preserving food are the subject of this article? So read this and answer this question for me. Okay, so we'll discuss this question first after reading this one. So read it. So have you finished?
Yes, teacher.
Two ways. So what are the two ways of preserving food that is mentioned in the article?
Tin, T-I-N.
And
Steam power machine. Steam power machine.
freeze power machine 嘛
Chill the area where the food was.
freezing 嘛
Oh,
freezing
哪里?
now canning method right
Yes.
the can ကဒီတစ်ပတ်မှာရှင်းထားတယ်တူတယ်can လုပ်တယ်တော့မလို့ရှရင် cool လုပ်တယ်အဲ့ method နဲ့ cool တော့ food သက်သက်ပါနော် okay
Oh,
okay so what do number 2 find the names of the following in the text so you have to find the names for the following phrases for example the leader of an army so can you find the name of the leader of the army in the passage
Yes.
who is that
Napoleon.
Napoleon Bonaparte right
Yes.
so just like that you have to find out the names for the following phrases for number 2 so Napoleon Bonaparte is number 1 and 2 did you finish number 2
no, teacher, wait.
oh, yeah, okay
Done, teacher.
Sentence တွေရောပြီးပြီလား
Yes, teacher.
Yes, okay. So number 1 is Napoleon Bonaparte. How about number
Teacher,
2?
ဘယ်သူလဲမသိဘူးမပြီးသေးဘူးလို့ပြောလိုက်တယ်
ဟုတ်လားဘယ်လိုလဲ
တော်စီ
ဟာ
တော်စီချေ
တော်စင်မပြီးသေးဘူး okay. Okay, good. So what about number 2? An old kind of money. So what is that? Old kind of money.
Teacher, I can find only number
France.
2.
France, yes. France တောင်းတစ်ထောင်ရမယ်လို့ကြေညာနှောင်းချက်ပါသူစစ်သားတွေအတွက်ဒီအစားအသောက်ကို preserve လုပ်နိုင်တဲ့လူကို France ဆိုရင်တောင်းတစ်ထောင်ရှင်းနေတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့နပိုလီယန်ကြေညာ right so France ငွေကြေးစနစ်ကိုပြောတာနော် France ကကျကျက်လိုမျိုးပဲ France and how about a French chef who is French chef
Nicolas Appert.
Nicolas Appert yes how about British inventor
Peter Drum.
Peter
Drum.
What is Peter Duran? Okay, here, right? Peter Duran.
Drum.
Peter Duran, whatever. We can pronounce that. That's just a name. So Peter Duran. And how about a ship? What is the name of the ship?
Duniran.
Dunedin, right?
Or
This one, right? But there is a
Yes.
ship and there is a name, Dunedin. Okay, so how about a newspaper? What is the name of the newspaper?
Times.
The Times, yes. Got it?
teacher
Yes, teacher, got it.
Oh, yes, teacher, okay. So we'll move to number 3. Find a word in the text which means, okay, so you have to find out the words that have the similar meaning with the following phrases. For example, number 1, close so that nothing can get in or out. So what is the word that has a similar meaning with the phrase in the paragraph? What can it be? Close so that nothing can get in or out.
Tint, teacher.
Hmm?
T-I-N-N-E-D, tint.
Feel, right?
Teacher, tint.
I think seal.
Seal,
Feel, right? So feel ပိတ်လိုက်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လုံးဝအလုံးပိတ်လိုက်တာအောင်ပြောတာ right? Feel. So the answer for number 3-1 is feel. So just like that, you have to find out the words and phrases that have a similar meaning with that following phrases. So trying to find it and after that we'll check together. So did you finish number 3?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, teacher.
So the first one is fuel, right? So how about number 2? Heated until bubbles and steam are produced.
While, B-O-I-L-E.
Boiled, correct. And how about 3? Closed so that air cannot get in or out.
Airtight, A-I-L.
Airtight. Yes, airtight. What is that?
Oh, wait, teacher. I
Air...
need my teacher.
Okay, right here, right? Airtight. Correct. And how about standby machine?
Steam-powered machine. A steam-powered machine.
Are you sure?
Mechanized.
Mechanized.
How?
Mechanized.
Teacher,
And
what does that mean, teacher?
Hmm?
Teacher, not your idea.
standby machine လေ။ဆက်နဲ့လုပ်ထားရဲဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဆက်ကိုအသုံးပြုလုပ်ထားရဲဆိုလို့ရှိရင် mechanized ဆိုသုံးလို့ရတယ်။ So airtight can be mechanized ကျတော့လက်နဲ့လုပ်ထားမှာမဟုတ်ဘူး။ဆက်နဲ့ပိတ်ထားအောင်ပြောတာ။ Okay, so how about number 5? Make cold. It has 2 possibilities. So the answer may be 2 words.
Refrigerated.
Refrigerated and
Freezing.
freezing or chill?
Chill.
Chill. Because whenever you find the word synonym, the part of speech has to be the same, right? So refrigerated or chill. How about the goods carried by a ship?
Cargo.
Zebra.
Cargo, yes.
Oh, stop.
Cargo. Okay, so did you get all the answers for number 3?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, then
Yes,
we'll move to
teacher.
number 4. Answer these questions. Okay, so this time we have to answer the questions. There are 5 questions there. So try to find out the answers and we'll check together again. So more about the motivate more than another.
တရှယ်မိုးရွာနေမီးပြတ်သွားလို့
We are getting okay.
ဟုတ်တရှယ်အခုဘယ်ရောက်သွားပြီလဲ
We are doing
သမီး
number
တ
4.
အားအခုဒီလိုအရှင်နေစိုးနေခဏမီးပြက်လိုက်မိုးရွာလိုက်လိုင်းကြလိုက်
So we call number 3 အဖြေမိလိုက်သေးလား
ဟုတ်တီရှယ်တဝက်တစ်ပြက်
တော့တပြည့်ဖယ်ထိမိလိုက်လဲသမီး number 3ဖြေ
နံပါတ်2ထိတာမသိ
2ထိမိလိုက်တယ် okay 3ရဲ့အဖြေကဆိုတော့ပုံမှန်လိုက်တာပြီးထားတယ် Now 1 2 3ဒီမှာ This is 4 4 ဟာ two possible words ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်နှလုံးရှိရပြရနော် refrigerated and chill. This is number 5. ရှာလာတူ
ဟုတ်ကဲ့တီရှယ်ရပါတယ်ရှင် thank you အခုနံပါတ်4လောက်နေရတာ
ခုနံပါတ်လေးဖြေနေတယ်သမီး Have you finished number 4?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. Tenebrio. How about the rest? Tenebrio ပြီလား
ဟုတ်ပြီပါ teacher
Okay, so the first question is, providing for food their family was a problem for workers in the factory and the mills. Why? So what is the reason?
Didn't have time or space to grow their own food.
Yes, they didn't have enough time or space to grow their own food, so new ways have to be found for them to feed them. So they don't have time or space to grow their own food, right? So that is the reason.
Yeah.
So that is number 1. So how about number 2? Why did Nicholas Appert win 12,000 francs?
Because he showed that food could be kept in glass bottles.
Food could be kept
In
in
glass
glass bottle that has been filled and then boiled in water. Yes, correct. Actually, he found a way of preserving food, right? By showing that food could be kept in a glass bottle that has been filled and then boiled in the water. That is why he won the prize, right?
Yes, teacher.
So that is the answer for number 2. How about number 3? What was the first tin can like?
Or cylindrical.
Tin and can well, lighter, unbreakable, and easier to steal and transport. right? So if you want to put, you can put cylindrical. Right? Cans are lighter and breakable and easier to seal and transport. That is how they look like at that time. And for number 4, what was important about the Dunedin voyage in 1882? What it is important about the ship?
Revolutionized the transportation of
Yes, because it revolutionized the transportation of food. Correct. So that will be the answer for number 4. So how about the last question? How will you describe the attitude of the Times journalists to the Dunedin voyage? So how did you answer that?
ဒီချက်အဲ့ဒီအောက်ကအပိုက်ကိုပြန်ရေးလိုက်ရတယ်
ပြန်ရေးလိုက်တာလားအဲ့တိုင်းပဲ
ဟုတ်ဟုတ်
refer လုပ်ပြီးတော့မှ သူရဲ့ attitude ကဘယ်လိုရှိလဲဆိုတော့ဖြေပေးရမှာကွာအဲ့တော့သူကပြောထားတယ် Today we have to record such a triumph over physical difficulties and would have been incredible, even imaginable a very few years ago. So according to his report, we have to guess what is his attitude towards this voyage. အဲ့တော့သူရဲ့ပြောထားတဲ့စကားကို refer လုပ်ပြီးတော့မှသူဘယ်လို attitude ရှိလဲဆိုတာကိုဖြေပေးရမှာအဲ့တော့ how do you think ဘယ်လို attitude ရှိရလို့ထင်လဲ
winner
So we can answer like he was very impressed by them, very impressed by it, right? အရင်ထင်ကြီးလေးသားတယ်ထင်ကြီးရလို့ကျွန်တော်ပြောလို့ရတယ်အဲ့တော့ impression ပေါ့ he got the impression of he was impressed by that voyage. Incredible ဆိုတမီးတော့တစ်ခုထည့်မှရမယ်အဲ့သူရဲ့ attitude သူရဲ့သဘောထားကိုပေါ်ပြဖြစ်တယ်တမီးသူရဲ့သဘောထားတစ်ခုပါတဲ့ word stop ဖြစ်ရမယ်ဟုတ်ပြီနော်အဲ့တော့ impress will be the most appropriate one impress ဖြစ်တယ်လို့ဖြေတာက appropriate ဖြစ်တယ်လို့ထင်တယ် but if you have different answer you can tell me too, okay? ရမလားအဲ့ဒါဆိုရင် number 5 number 4ပြောတာ number 4 ရဲ့5
ရတယ်ဒီချက် impressive
Impressed. He was impressed. Yes, he was impressed by the Dunedin voyage. According to his report, you can know that, right? Okay, number 4 ရဲ့ 1 2 3 4 5ဖြေကုန်ရမယ်နော်
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ဒီချက်
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ဒီချက်ရပါ
ဒီချက်တမျိုးနံပါတ်2ဖြေလေးတစ်ချက်ပြန်မယ်
နံပါတ်1ဖြေလေးတစ်ချက်ပြပါနံပါတ်1ဖြေလေးဒီမှာအဲ့တော့သူ့ကိုလေအရှိကြီးဖြေနေတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်းပြည့်စုံဖြေနေတယ်ဆိုလို့ဖြေလို့ရတယ်ဆိုလို့ကျွန်တော်ဒီမှာမေးခွန်းပြန်ကောက်ပြီးတော့ဖြေလို့ရတယ်အဲ့တော့ why did Nicholas Appert win 12,000 francs ဆိုရင် Nicholas Appert won ဘာဖြစ်တော့နော် won 12,000 francs because he found a way of preserving food by showing that by showing that food could be kept in the glass bottle that has been sealed and then boiled in water. ဒီကိစ္စဆိုပြီးကြဖြစ်လို့ဆိုလို့ဖြစ်လို့ရတယ်အဲ့နှစ်ခုလုံးပေါင်းဖြေရအောင်သူဘာလို့ဆုရလဲဆိုရင်သူကအမှန်တော့ဒီ food ကို preserve လုပ်ဖို့ဝေတွေ့သွားတဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်သူကဒီသူ့ကိုရတာကွာအဲ့တော့ဘယ်လိုမျိုးတွေ့သွားလဲဆိုတော့အောက်မှာသူ့ရဲ့နီလန်တွေ့သွားတဲ့နီလန်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့နှစ်ခုပေါင်းပြီးဖြေပို့ပြီးတော့ဖြေရပြီးဆုံးတယ်ဟုတ်ပြီနော်အဲ့လိုပေါင်းဖြေလို့ရတယ်အဲ့ဆိုရမှာ
ဟုတ်ရမယ်ဒီချက်
ရမယ်နော် okay အဲ့ဆိုရင်ဘာမေးကြရှိသေးလဲဆိုတော့နံပါတ်1 2 3 4မှာမေးကြရှိသေးလဲ
no teacher
ရှိနော်အဲ့တန်းတဲ့လူရောပါရှိသေးလဲမေးကြ
မရှိရောပါဘူးဒီချက်
Speaking, so we'll move to speaking on. Alright, walk in small group and discuss the following questions. Number 1 is why did Nicholas Appert need to seal and boil the bottle to preserve the food? So how do you think, Lieutenant? ဘူးတွေပိတ်လိုက်တယ်ပိတ်သွားတဲ့အခါအဲ့ဒါကိုသူကဘွားလုံးဝစုသွားအောင်လို့ပြုတ်လိုက်တဲ့သဘောပေါ့နော်။ဘာဖြစ်လို့လုပ်တာလဲတဲ့အဲ့တော့ preserve လုပ်ဖို့အတွက် Why did he use this method?
for keep longer ပိုပြီးတကြ
keep longer အတတာထားဖို့အတွက်ဟုတ်တယ်လေတတာထားဖို့အတွက်သူကအဲ့လိုမျိုးလုပ်ရတယ်ကွာဘာဖြစ်လို့လုပ်ရတယ်လို့ပြောတယ်နော်အဲ့နာမှာပတ်နေပြီဘာဖြစ်လို့လုပ်ချင်လဲ
တကြထားတယ်မို့
အမှန်တော့ can ဆိုတာချက်ထားတဲ့ဟာတွေဆို canning လောက်ထားမှာနော် တက်အောင်ချက်ထားတယ်ပြီးတော့သူကလေးတောင်လောက်လိုက်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ဘာမှဖြစ်တော့ဘူးလေ
မို့မတက်တော့
တဲ့တဲ့လူတွေရော how do you think ဘယ်လိုထင်လဲဘာမှဖြစ်တော့ဘူးလို့ထင်လဲ
မပုတ်တော့
မပုတ်တော့ဘူး yes အဲ့တော့ဘာဖြစ်လို့မပုတ်တာလဲတဲ့ထောင်နေတာဘာဖြစ်လို့မပုတ်တာလဲ
ဟိုပြုတ်လိုက်လို့ဒီချဲပြုတ်လိုက်လို့မပုတ်တော့
ကျွန်တော်ဒီနေ့ကပြီးတော့ပေါ့အဲ့နိုင်လဲတာတော့အဓိကပြောချင်တာကဘာလဲကျွန်တော်ဒီလိုကြောက်ဖတ်လိုက်လို့တောင်း yes အာကာ
ဒီချက်ကြိုက်နေပြီမလားလို့အဖြေလေး
ဟမ်
အဖြေလေးကိုကြိုက်နေပြီမလားလို့
အပြေတိုက်နေပြီ yes အပြေကဒီနားမှာလဲထွက်တာအရင်တိုက်နေပြီအဲ့တော့ဒီလိုနဲ့တပတ်တပေးလို့ရတော့ဆင်ပြေအဲ့တော့ပြောချင်တာကတက်အောင်ချက်လိုက်တယ်တက်အောင်ချက်ပြီးတော့ can ဖူးနဲ့တော့လီလဲလုံသွားတယ်ဆိုတော့ဘက်တီးရီးယားပေါက်ခွာတော့သွားတယ်ဘက်တီးရီးယားမပေါက်တော့လေဘက်တီးရီးယားမပေါက်တဲ့အခါမှာကျတော့အစားတော့တွေအနံ့မထွက်တော့ဘူးပုတ်တော့ဘူးမတက်တော့ပြောချင်တာအဲ့တော့ဘက်တီးရီးယားပေါက်ခွာတော့ကိုသူကချက်ပြီးလိုက်တာဟုတ်တယ်နော်အဲ့တော့မပုတ်တော့ဘူးပေါ့အဲ့တော့အစိမ်းထားတဲ့အစားတော့နဲ့ချက်ထားတဲ့အစားတော့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အပြင်မှာတူတူထားလိုက်ထားလို့ရှိရင်ဆိုချက်ထားတဲ့အစားတော့ပုတ်ခံဟုတ်တယ်အစိမ်းထားတဲ့အစားတော့ခဏနေတော့အနံ့ထွက်လာနော်
So teacher reduce become bacteria.
You know, just discussing the short film discussion မှာပါနော် ရေးတဲ့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ရတယ်အဲ့တော့ they destroy bacteria ဆို bacteria ဆို destroy လုပ်လိုက်ကသိသွားအောင်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့ number 2 အောင် why are cans useful for preserving food အဲ့တော့မနက် question ကိုဒီနားမှာလေးနေတယ်အဲ့တော့ဘာဖြစ်လို့ can တွေက preserving food အတွက်အသုံးဝင်တာလဲတဲ့
It's more safer than plastic.
It's more safer than plastic, okay? And is there any more reason?
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable. အဲ့တော့ဆိုတော့ can ဖို့တော့လုံးဝလေးလုံးတော့ air tight လုပ်လို့ရတယ်ဟုတ်တယ်မလားအဲ့အတွက်တောင်းလို့yes အဲ့တော့ can တွေကဒီ can တွေက preserve ဖို့အတွက်အသုံးဝင်တာဟုတ်ပြီနော်အဲ့တော့နောက်တစ်ခုက number 3 အောင် why does keeping food cold or frozen preserve food think of bacteria သူက display ပေးထားတယ်ဟုတ်ပြီနော်အဲ့တော့ခုန heat လုပ်လိုက်တော့ကကြာတော့အပူပေးလိုက်တော့ကကြာတော့ bacteria တွေသေသွားတယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့ခဲလိုက်ရင်ကြာတော့ဘာဖြစ်သွားလဲ
Care.
bacteria တွေခဲသွား bacteria တွေခဲသွား yes အဲ့တော့သူတို့ရဲ့ဖြစ်စဉ်ကိုကျွန်တော် slow down လုပ်လိုက်တာပေါ့ကျွန်တော် freeze လုပ်ထားတယ်ကအကြာကြီးခံနေရဆိုတော့တလားထားမှာအသားလေးသွားဆိုတော့တလားလောက်ထားလို့ရတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့ထက်ကြာသွားလို့ရှိရင်တော့မကောင်းတော့ဘူးပါဟုတ်တယ်မလားအဲ့တော့သူ့ရဲ့ဖြစ်စဉ်ဆိုဇီဝဗေဒဖြစ်စဉ်ကိုသူက freeze လုပ်လိုက်တော့အရန် slow down ဖြစ်သွားတယ်အရန်ကိုနေသွားတယ်ပြောချင်တာ2ရက်လောက်ပြင်မှာထိုင်ပုံမှန်သားဆိုတော့ freeze လုပ်လိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာတော့တလားလောက်မပုတ်တော့ဘူးအဲ့သူ့ရဲ့ဖြစ်စဉ်ဒီဗာလဲbio မှာပေါ်ပေါ်ရတယ်bio မှာအဲ့ဒီပေါ်တရားပါတယ်အဲ့တော့အဲ့ရဲ့ဇီဝဖြစ်စဉ်နှေးသွားတဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မို့ဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒါအကြာကြီးခံတော့ဖူပါအဲ့တော့အစားတော့ကိုအကြာကြီးခံနေတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့တော့ canning လုပ်လို့ရတယ် heat အပူပေးလို့ရတယ် freeze လုပ်လို့ရတယ်သုံးမျိုးသုံးလို့ရတယ်ပေါ့ဆိုတော့အဲ့သုံးမျိုးဆိုတော့အဲ့သုံးမျိုးလုံးကဆိုတော့ဘာမလို့ခေါ်လဲ bacteria မပေါက်သွားဘူးဆို bacteria ပေါက်သွားတော့ကိုချော့ချဆိုလို့အတွက်အဲ့ဒါမျိုးလို့ဒါရအသုံးဝင်တာအဲ့ဆိုရမှာ
ဟုတ်ရမှာတီချာ
ဟုတ်ရပါပြီ
ကျွန်တော်ခုခေတ်သုံးနေတဲ့ method ကတော့ဘာကိုသုံးနေကြလဲ freezing များသွားပြီကျွန်တော်အိမ်နေမှာ freezing သုံးတယ်နောက်ပြီးတော့အကြာခံဖို့အစားတော့တွေကျွန်တော် canning နဲ့သုံးတယ်ကျွန်တော်ဈေးသွားတယ် city mart တွေသွားတယ်ဆိုရင်မှာ can food တွေမှာများဆိုငါးတက်တာတော့ကျွန်တော်အတင်စားတော့တွေဆိုဘူးတွေနဲ့ can food တွေနဲ့မှာဟုတ်တယ်မှာ
ready made တွေ
yes ready made တွေပေါ့နော် ready made ကကျွန်တော်ချက်တာကတော့ fresh တော့မဖြစ်ဘူးပေါ့ဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်အဲ့လိုမျိုးထားတော့ camping တွေပါသွားမှာကျွန်တော်သွားတော့တရားပြရလွယ်ချက်ပြမလို့အဲ့တော့ဘယ်လိုကူသုံးပြီးလို့ရတယ်ပေါ့ကျွန်တော် cancel မှာလည်းသူရဲ့ advantages တွေအများကြီးရှိရပါတော့အဲ့ disadvantages တွေရှိ disadvantages ကတိတ်ပြီးတော့cancel ရကျွန်တော်ဒီ new fresh တော့ mini fresh တော့မဖြစ်ဘူးပေါ့နော်သူရဲ့အရသာနဲ့ပေါ့အဲ့ဆိုရမှာလေ
yes teacher
yes teacher
okay so we'll move to use of English again use of English မှာ relative pronouns ဆို both age မှာသင်ခဲ့လား relative pronouns
I don't think so teacher
မပြောခဲ့เนาะအခုမပြောခဲ့ဆိုဒီမှာပြန်ပြောမယ် relative pronouns ကဆိုတော့relative clause ချိန်တဲ့နေရာမှာအသုံးဝင်တယ်အဲ့တော့ဘယ်လိုချက်လဲဆိုတော့ငယ်ငယ်တော့သုံးခဲ့ရပါဒီဟာကြီးကဘာမှန်းတာမသိရအဲ့တော့ remember to use who for people လူကိုပြန်ညွှန်းခြင်းဆိုတော့ who နဲ့သုံးတယ်ဒါမှမဟုတ် things အရာဝတ္ထုတွေပစ္စည်းတွေညွှန်းခြင်းဆိုတော့ which ဒါမှမဟုတ်ရှင် that နှစ်မျိုးလုံးသုံးလို့ရတယ်နေရာကိုရင်းနေဆိုလို့ရှိရင် when သုံးတယ် အဲ့ဒီကောင်တွေအကုန်လုံးကျွန်တော် relative pronoun လို့ခေါ်တာဟုတ်ပြီနော်အဲ့ဘယ်လိုသုံးလဲဆိုတော့ factory workers and people who live in city didn't have time or space to grow their own food အဲ့တော့ဒီ food တွေဆိုတော့ရှေ့ကကောင်မျိုးပြင်နေမျိုးနဲ့အဲ့လို clause ပြင်ချိန်တာပြောဆိုတော့ဒီနောက်ကတစ်ခုလုံးကျွန်တော် relative clause လို့ခေါ်တယ် relative pronoun တွေတော့ကျွန်တော် relative clause ချိန်လိုက်တာပေါ့အဲ့လိုရေးကြတဲ့ sentence ကပို့ပြီးတော့ complicated ဖြစ်တဲ့ complex ပို့ဖြစ်တယ်အဲ့လို complex sentence တွေ complicated sentence တွေချင်းရင်ဘာရအောင်လဲဆိုတော့ writing မှာအမှတ်ပို့ရတယ် simple sentence ဆိုရင် complex sentence တွေအမှတ်ပို့ရတယ် right food could be kept in glass bottle that had been sealed and then boiled the that got so a shoe game right Peter made a cylindrical tin which could be used to preserve food a steam power machine chilled the area where the food was stored ဆိုနေရာညွှန်းနေဆိုရင် where တောင်းလို့ရတယ်အကြောင်းဆိုရင် which that တောင်းလို့ရတယ်လူကိုညွှန်းချယ်လို့ who ကိုတောင်းလို့ရတယ်ဟုတ်နော်အဲ့ဒါ number 6 လို့ပြောnumber 6 က write a definitions of the following using an relative pronoun in each one relative pronoun သုံးပြီးတော့မှ definition ရေးခိုင်းတာအဲ့တော့ for example လုပ်ပြတာ refrigerator ကဘာလဲဆိုတော့ it's a machine စက်ပစ္စည်းတစ်ခုအဲ့တော့ that machine ဖြစ်တဲ့ဆိုတော့ that ကိုပြောသုံးအဲ့တော့ that keep food cool farm a farm is a place a place ဆိုတဲ့ဆိုတော့ where ကိုသုံးတယ် crops are grown and animals are kept ရမယ်နော်အဲ့တော့အောက်မှာပေးထား chef ရယ် tin can soldier mill steam engine factory 3ကနေ 8 ထိဆို relative pronoun သုံးပြီးတော့မှ definition ရေးပြတော့နော်အပေါ်အဲ့ဒါလို့ရတယ် So have you finished?
Not
Yes,
yet, teacher. Mapili, teacher.
Okay.
teacher.
Yes.
teacher, who wrote that wisdom now? The faga, who can that yashila? Fatu wet on
다음에 다이어트 definition이 들어갈까 포함해서.
how teacher?
definition 上面每个都放在上面。刚才前面是动物呀，对，咱们什么的 it's a definition, so we'll only use present. Vivian,
Teacher, canal.
okay. Okay, so Tina, you're sending me the answers. Actually, for example number 3, you can write a person. A chef is a person. A chef is a person who cooks meal very well, right?
Teacher, we have to send our answer.
那都唔好話你，唔好話你。
Oh, okay.
你睇報俾佢先，對吧？Alright, a person, a chef is a person, right? The definition ပုံစံရေးမှာထင်တာ။တန်းတဲ့ဟာတွေသမီးရေးထားမယ် number 3မရေးထားဘူး
ဟုတ်ဒီတယ်နံပါတ်3ကျန်
number 3ကျန်သွားကျန်တဲ့ဟာတွေကတော့အဲ့လိုပဲရေးထားတယ်။နော်ကျန်တဲ့ဟာတွေကတော့ okay. Tin can is a thing. It's a thing that who can be stored. A person, okay, number 4, number 5, a soldier is a person, right? A soldier is a person who protects their mother country. Mill is a machine. Machine what? Mill has a factory model. Mill is a factory, right? စက်ရုံပြောရဆို mill ပါစောတော့ညတော့ဒီ compound တော့တော့များတယ်အဲ့ mill ကဘာလို့တဲ့ mill လဲ saw mill ဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တစ်ခွဲစက်ရုံအဲ့လိုပြောတာ clean and တစ်ခွဲစက်ရုံအဲ့လိုမျိုးဟာမျိုးပေါ့နော် Okay, number so what talk the answer together. So number 3 got chef. So a chef is a person
Who cooked the
Make.
food?
Who cooked the food?
who cook the meals.
Yeah, who cooked the meal?
A chef is a person who cook meals professionally. You can say like that, right? So how about tin can?
tin can is a thing that food can be stored.
Food can be stored. Is there any other different answers?
Tin can is a thing to preserve food.
Yes, it's a thing. You have to use the relative pronoun. Relative pronoun. So a thing can is something
Which
for that is useful for preserving food, right? So we can say like that, right? Which is used to preserve food. Have enough? How about soldier?
Soldier is the who fight for their country.
Soldier is a person or soldier is someone who fight for his country or who serve in an army. You can say that, right? So you may have different definitions. And how about mill? Mill of later. A mill is a factory.
A chan food.
Shan food. Where? So where don't we are? Not where metal can be cut or shaped. So metal is the same. So you may have different definitions for mill. You know? But you have to use it's a factory where, and you can do something there, blah, 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 right? And how about steam engine? Steam engine is a
Machine that make food chill.
machine or engine that performs mechanical work, right? So စက်ပစ္စည်းနဲ့တုံးတာလားစက်တွေလေပတ်ဖို့အတွက် steam engine ကိုတုံးတာ engine ဆိုတော့စက်ကောင်အဲ့မှာကျတော့ဘယ်စက်မှာဖြစ်ဖြစ်သွားပြီးတော့တုံးလို့ရတယ် steam engine နေ့ရက်ဆက် discuss လုပ်ကြတယ်နော် steam engine မှာကျတော့ different places မှာတုံးလို့ရတယ် transportation အတွက်လည်းတုံးလို့ရတယ် factory work အတွက်လည်းတုံးလို့ရတယ် so we can give a definition like a steam engine is an engine or a heated engine that perform machinery work, right? So how about factory? Factory is a place, right?
a place that where people walk.
Where people work, yes. Where people work on machine, where goods are manufactured by machine. So you may have different definitions.
The machinery ကလေ MACHINE
Machinery ဆိုအပေါ်မှာကျပါလာမှာ machinery. ဒါမှမဟုတ် mechanical လည်းရေးလို့ရတယ် mechanical also mechanized ပဲပါနော် you can use mechanical work. Yes, number 6 တော့ဖြေရကြမှာလေ
Yes, teacher.
Teacher, တပည့် number 7 ပြောပြပါ number 6
a steam engine is an engine that performs mechanical work
Okay.
or which performs mechanical work. Come on.
Okay, teacher, ရပါပြီ thank you
နောက်မယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လေတချို့ relative pronoun တွေတုံးပြီးတော့ sentence own sentence တစ်ချောင်းစီလောက်ချက်ပြမှပြပါမယ် You can use whether, who, which, that, where, cited relative pronoun တုံးလို့ရတယ် and you can construct your own sentence by using a relative pronoun. Okay? Just only one sentence for each of these. တစ်ယောက်တစ်ချောင်းပဲဆိုရတယ်
ပြအဲ့လိုရေးရတာဆိုတော့အခုရေးထားတဲ့ဒီရှစ်ကြောင်းအဲ့လိုမျိုးပဲနောက်တစ်ကြောင်း
Yes, yes, your own sentence. It's exactly.
Definition ပဲရမှာလား
No, not definition. Definition မဟုတ် cited sentence ကို relative pronoun သုံးပြီးရေးခိုင်းတာအဲ့တော့အပေါ်က sentence မျိုးရေးလို့ရတယ်ဒီလို sentence မျိုးလည်းရေးလို့ရတယ် or you can use write a definition ရေးလို့ရတယ် So you can get the examples here. Okay, so Melissa is a person who is scared to sit alone on the balcony at night. Okay, he did it.
Yes.
You have to write like Melissa is a person who is scared of sitting alone on the balcony at night. So scared of the no?
Okay.
Gym is a place. Are you using that or where? Jason? Jason, are you there?
Yes, yes, sorry. What?
So it has to be where?
Where?
Because you're using that and where in one sentence. So gym is a place where people do exercises, right?
Okay, okay.
The prize will be awarded to the person who performed the best. Great. Correct, Medu. And a doctor is the person who cures patients. Correct, Nintai. I'm a person who loves rain. Correct. And the girl who was next to him is the girl who was next to him is his girlfriend. Correct. farmer is a person who owns or manages a farm. Correct? Cho công vụ giỏi lại. Interesting is a kid who can't go out alone. Okay, great. An engineer is a person who controls an engine. Okay, who controls an engine? Susan? To me.
Okay.
Sao cái này là engineer à? Engineer is a person who controls it. I said that there are more than these, right? Engineer and engineer. But the present is okay. So that is that all. Cho công vụ giỏi lại.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, where is Aga? Aga, did you send it to me? Aga, are you there? I'm a person who likes, okay. You have to think too hard for that sentence. Great. I'm a person who likes to read. Who likes to read? Okay, great. Also, relative pronounသုံးတတ်မယ်နော်
Yes, teacher.
Okay သုံးတတ်မယ်ဆိုရင်project ကကြော်လိုက်တော့မယ်နော် project ကကြော်လိုက်တော့မယ်ဆိုရင်နောက်ချက်က reading down တစ်ပုဒ်ဆိုတော့တစ်နှမ်းပေါ်ရရတယ်နော်အဲ့တော့အကျွေးတစ်ပုဒ်ဆိုရင်ဒီမှာရေးမလို့ပဲဒီဟာရေးမှကျွန်တော်မပြီးတော့တာ right group ကချက်ခုပို့ဖြစ်သွားနေတယ် Okay, but we don't have much time, so I'm gonna stop here. So we'll see you next weekend. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Chair. No homework, right?
Bye bye.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Bye,
teacher.
Good day.
Bye bye, Chair.
Bye.